My name is Kim, and I'll be telling you a little bit about a new program we're offering at NADF today. So I'm just waiting for some of the participants to get on the webinar. So we'll wait a few more minutes. It's 11 o'clock. It's August the 26th, Wednesday. We're almost rounding the end of August, and fall is almost here. So I'm starting to see some of the participants come on. Welcome. So I'm our office here. We have a satellite office in Timmins, Ontario. That's where I'm located. Our head office is in Fort William First Nation. We recently moved to Fort William First Nation from our Thunder Bay office this past December. So we have started doing webinars as a way of reaching out to our clientele and service area. So this webinar is called COVID-19 Financial Relief for Northern Ontario Businesses. Staffing-wise, in our Thunder Bay office, we have roughly 16 staff, and in Timmins, we have 3 staff. So we're an organization of about maybe 19, 20 people. I've been with Anishinaabe Development Fund for probably a little over 20 years. And I really enjoy what I do in helping people start their businesses. So people are still joining onto the webinar, so we'll just give them a few more minutes. The information I'll be sharing with you will be available on our website, and as well as a copy of the PowerPoint. So everybody who signed up as an attendee to this webinar, you'll be getting copies of the PowerPoint and a copy of this recording. And it should be available to you no later than this Friday, which would be August the 28th. So the presentation I have for you is just about maybe 15 slides long. I don't think we'll take much longer than maybe about 20 minutes. This is just to give you an overview of the new program we have for emergency financing and a summary of what we are already offering at NADF. So I have some participants. Okay, good. Welcome. Who's out there? Say hello. Tell me where you're viewing our webinar from. Just tell me the community and maybe your first name. Just want to see if my chat is working. Good morning. Okay, so when I'm doing this presentation, you may see me looking over at my screen, and that's just to make sure I'm getting the questions that you're asking, because I want to be able to give you as much information as I can about what we're offering today. Hi, Ed. Good to see you. Ed's watching from Thunder Bay. Welcome. Good morning, Bonnie. Good to see you. Okay, very good. So if any of you have a question as we go along, just go ahead and type it in, and I'll do my best to give you an answer. Good morning, Richard. Bearskin, awesome. All right, so it's about 11:04. I'm going to get started now. So I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint. And, uh-oh. Give me a minute. I'm trying to pull my PowerPoint so you can see what I'm trying to share with you. There we go. Okay, so This webinar is titled COVID-19 Financial Relief for Northern Ontario Aboriginal Businesses. My name is Kim Bird. I am the Loans Manager here at Anishinaabe Development Fund. So our agenda for this morning is I'm going to go over with you the criteria we have for applicants applying to our emergency financing programs. And I'm also going to detail about the Business Recovery Fund. This is the new package that we're offering. And then I'm also going to summarize with you the current financing options we have available. And then I'm going to take some time to go over the loan application with you. And then I'm going to explain the loan process. And along the way, as you have questions, please type them in and I'll answer them. So here's our agenda. So to apply for any of our emergency financing options we have at NADF, your business has to be operating in our catchment area. So NADF's catchment area or service area is Northern Ontario. And these are primarily Treaty 9, Treaty 5, Treaty 3, and Robinson Superior 1850. So this is the area that NADF provides services to. So if your business is located in that area, you can apply to us. We also help businesses that are located off reserve. So you don't necessarily have to be operating in a First Nation. You can be in a town, or you could be on or off reserve, and that's okay with us. The second thing to apply to these emergency funds, your business has to be established before March 1st. Before March 1st. Oh, I hope I'm not feeding in and out. Can you guys hear me? Bonnie, can you hear me well? Good. Richard, can you hear me? I think I'm fading out. All right, so getting back to the criteria, so you have to be operating in Northern Ontario. Thank you, Damaris. So your business has to be established before March 1st, 2020. So if you started a new business like in April or May or June 2020, you're not eligible for these emergency loan funds. These are for businesses that were already operating before COVID happened to us. The next criteria is good standing. What this means is if you're an existing client of NADF, you need to be in good standing with us. So that's what good standing means. If you're not a client of NADF, that's fine. We'll take your application and you will become a new client of NADF. The next criteria we have is you have to be an Aboriginal business. So if you are in partnership, we ask that the Aboriginal component of the business be majority owner, at least 51%. So if you're 51% owner, you can apply for emergency loans. The next one, it says viable before March 1st, 2020. Viable means that we'll be able to see from your financial statements or your cash flows of your business that your business was doing okay and making money before COVID happened. Viable means that your business was able to make ends meet. You had enough money to pay your expenses and you were making some money. Another criteria for applying is your business has to have been impacted by COVID-19. So a lot of things happened to all of us when COVID came. So for your business, like if you're applying for these emergency loan funds, you have to demonstrate to us what happened. The purpose of the Business Recovery Fund, basically, it's here to help your business recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's to help your business with its monthly operating cash flow needs with a few more options. How's everybody out there? Are you understanding me so far? Okay. So the Business Recovery Fund, we'll call it BRF for short. So if you're applying to this recovery fund, here are the terms. So the maximum you can apply for would be $50,000. And the nice thing about this package is half of it is in the form of a non-repayable, it's a grant. And then the other half, the other 50% is a loan. So if you're asking for a $50,000 emergency loan, you would only be paying back 25,000 of that. And regarding interest, there's no interest until December 31st, 2022. So if you're applying and we disperse the emergency loan funds to you like in September, you would actually have a little over 2 years before interest was starting to be added to your balance. So the interest rate will be 5%, like when we begin charging you interest on January 1st, 2023. When we're doing your loan repayment schedule or the amortization schedule, you're not going to be required to make any payments until the 13th month that you've had the loan with us. The term will be 48 months, and the Business Recovery Fund is a program under the Ministry of the Indigenous Affairs, and that's who we access this program from. So that's a nice little package, $50,000. It's up to 50,000. Like you may not need 50,000. Like say if you only needed 20, then of that 20,000, like 10 would be a grant and 10 would be the loan. Any questions out there yet? Okay, so far so good. So the Business Recovery Fund can be used for general operating expenses. We'll give you examples of what those are in the next few slides. So the Business Recovery Funds can also be used for making improvements to accommodate social distancing, such as installation of plexiglass barriers. Each business is different. For our organization, like right now, we're not allowing clients to come into our office area, but in getting ready for it, like we're installing plexiglass, like in our front reception areas, we have little arrows marking directions of where people can come and go. And we've had to buy like temperature gauges to, record our temperature when we come to work. We bought like a whole bunch of cleaning supplies, wipes, all that disinfecting stuff. So that costs a lot of money. So if you're in that situation, like this is what you can use this money for. The Business Recovery Fund can also be used towards increasing production capacity. So depending on what it is you do in your business, if you find yourself ramping up services or ramping up products, like you can certainly apply for the fund to do this then. You may also be in a position where you're having to develop new products because of the way your business has been affected or changed. And another big one, because people were not traveling or they were staying home a lot or businesses were closed, a lot of people started ordering products and services online. So if your business is going to benefit by moving to an online platform or going more in that direction, those costs are also going to be eligible with the Business Recovery Funds. So the last three items here on the screen, they're in red. So towards increasing production capacity, developing new products, and moving to online marketing. They're in red because this is different from what we were offering with the other emergency packages we had. So the Business Recovery Fund, it's more flexible in what you can use the funds for. Bonnie's asking a question. Is this a stackable program? Yes, it is, and we'll get to that in a minute. Can we apply for other programs without being disqualified from this one? This program here, the Business Recovery Fund, it is funded through the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs. And yes, it's confirmed that you can stack this with other federal programs you're accessing. Good question. Okay, so the Business Recovery Fund can be stacked with other federal programs if required. So if you're questioning a certain program that you already accessed and you want to put this on top, we'll take a look at it. Yes. This Business Recovery Fund can also be accessed by Indigenous businesses operating in NADF's catchment area. And once again, these are Treaties 9, 5, 3, and Robinson Superior 1850. This program can also be accessed by Métis Nations of Ontario members and Inuit. The Business Recovery Fund, when you're applying to this one, we're going to be asking you to maybe 5 additional supplementary questions, we call them. because a condition of getting this fund, like you had to submit a business plan. So NADF is really streamlining what that business plan is going to include. So it's going to be very simple, like include your resume of who's going to be applying and how the funds are going to be used. But we'll get more into that when we look at the application. So the Business Recovery Fund, it will ask you for a business plan, but to us, that's just like 5 questions, and you can answer them all on 1 page. So that's that. So this is a summary now of the total emergency financing options that we're offering at NADF. So I'll start with the Emergency Loan Fund. So the Emergency Loan Fund is money just right from NADF's own pools, where we're offering up to $25,000. It's a 100% loan, so you do have to pay all that back. There's no interest and loan payments until April 1st, 2021. And the interest we're going to be charging after that will be 5%. So NADF has its own pool of emergency loan funds, but it's all 100% repayable, and you can apply for that if you'd like. And then the next program is called the Indigenous Business Stabilization Program, or IBSP. So this is a package from the federal government, and you can access up to $40,000, where it's broken down as 75% of that amount is a loan, and then the other 25% is a grant. So for example, if you apply to us and you're asking for $40,000, 75% of that would be $30,000. That's what you would be paying back. And the other $10,000 would be immediately forgivable. So when you're looking at our repayment schedule, you're only going to be paying back $30,000, not the $40,000. With this one, the Indigenous Business Stabilization Program, there are no payments for the first 12 months. So your first loan payment to us is going to be in the 13th month. And the nice thing about this one is there's no interest, like 0% interest for the life of the loan. As I said earlier, this is from the federal government, and it's called National Aboriginal Capital Corporation Association, or NACA for short. But all you need to know, it's up to $40,000, and it's part loan and part grant. And then this third one here, the $50,000 Emergency Business Recovery Fund, that's the one we're talking about today because this is our most recent new financing option. With this one, you can access up to $50,000. Half of it is a loan, and then the other half is going to be in a grant. Same as the IBSP, there's no payments for the first 12 months. So your first loan payment would be in the 13th month that you've received it. And there is no interest on this one until January 1st, 2023. So you have about 2 years where there's no interest. And once again, this one is from the province. It's from the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs. Now, what you're looking at here are 3 separate loan options. You can apply to 1, 2, or all 3 of them, depending on the needs of your business case and how your application is prepared and submitted. Like you could potentially apply for 25,000 plus 40 plus 50. So depending on your unique needs of your business case, you can talk to us and we can tell you how you could proceed. BSP is the same as CEBA. Is it one or the other product? i.e., if you get CEBA, you don't get BSP. Okay, so somebody's asking a question. Let me see. BSP is the same as CEBA. Okay, correct. So if you got CEBA, you don't get the Indigenous Business Stabilization Program, but you can access the Business Recovery Fund on top of it. Good question. So I'm going to explain to you some examples of what we consider monthly operating costs of your businesses. Here are a few, but there's more. This is just to give you examples of what you can put in as business operating costs. These could be your monthly rent payments, your lease payments, wages, hydro, gas, internet, cell phone, telephone, security costs, cleaning costs, bookkeeping costs, vehicle expenses, equipment rentals, freight, insurance, bank fees, taxes, safety gear, health and safety improvements. And then the ones in red here, increasing production capacity, developing new products, and moving to online marketing. So it's quite broad and flexible what's being considered as monthly operating costs, as long as it fits to your business needs. Like it's your business. Like you're the one telling us what your business needs to stay afloat and operate. So if you're not sure if a certain cost fits, just call us and we'll give you an idea. So there's another question about capital costs to expand your business. Yes, that would be eligible under the Business Recovery Fund. Good questions. Are there any more? Keep them coming. So now I'm going to go into the application part. So we have streamlined our application form. When you get it by email, you'll see that it's 8 pages long. So in the 8 pages, so I had a question here, sorry. So somebody's asking how many months to repay. So the terms of the emergency packages we have are 48 months. So we're looking at a 4-year term. But like we said, if you're not paying until the 13th month, you'll have about 3 years to repay whatever the principal is. And each business is going to be unique and different. So we'll work with you, like if we need to adjust your repayment schedules. Does that answer your question? Okay. Okay, that's good. All right, so if anybody else has any questions, I'll just read what's coming and I'll share with everybody, and then you all get the same information. So going back to our application form, it's a few pages. What we need you to include when you're submitting your application is be as thorough as you can be, because if you send something to us and it's missing a couple of pieces, it's going to slow you and us down, and you're not going to be getting our response as fast as you could. There's another question that says, do we have to be incorporated? No, you do not. Businesses have several forms of ownership. You can be a sole proprietor, you can be a partnership, you can be a corporation. So to access our emergency financing options, you don't have to be just incorporated. You can be any business ownership structure. So when you are applying, make sure to include a copy of your status card, a driver's license, and a passport if you have those. If you are incorporated, we'll ask you to include a copy of your articles of incorporation. Some businesses have a master business license. If you have that, that would be great. You can include that, but it's not necessary. We do ask that you provide us with your bank statements from January 1st, 2020 to the most recent. So to the most recent would probably be to the end of July, because August is not done yet. We do ask for your most recent financial statements or the last 2 years of your tax returns. The reason why we ask for this, we want to see how your business was operating before COVID. Like, were you actually in business? Were you making money? What were your expenses typically like? And what kind of profit or loss did you have in the previous 2 years? This cash flow statement next, it's highlighted in bold because when we send you the application form, we're also going to send you an Excel sheet. And this Excel sheet is a breakdown of about 12 months of your business operating from the time COVID hit us, like in mid-March 2020, going forward to the end of this March 30th, 2021. So you have to complete this cash flow statement. It's part of the application process. And if you get it and you're not sure how to fill it in, or you're not sure, you can call us and we'll guide you through it. And I'll explain what it looks like in the next few slides. Supporting documents, lease, rental agreements, utility bills, insurance, policy statements, etc. So when you're giving us your information of your monthly operating costs, the more you can substantiate what your operating costs are, the easier and faster it is for us to make a quick decision on how much you get or if you get the emergency financing. So you can just scan these documents. All the applications we receive, we're accepting everything by email. So just make photocopies and just send them in to us. Like I said, for the Business Recovery Fund, we'll ask you maybe 5 more supplemental questions, and they'll be fairly easy to answer, and they'll be on 1 page. These additional questions are necessary because it's the application, you're asking for more money, so we need to make sure we do a bit more homework with it. All the funds that NADF is delivering from the government programs, like NADF has to make reports and have to tell these government agencies how we spent the money and where it went. So it's important that we have all our ducks in a row from the information we collect from you as the applicant. The application form, it's going to ask you, what was the impact of COVID-19 on your business? So you can fill it and write in on the application, or you can provide like an additional page or an additional note if you want to elaborate in detail. We want to know what other government funds you did receive, and just basic things on an application form. What is your business address? What is your structure? Who owns it? And then we also want to know, are you involved and own any other businesses? And we want you to explain that to us. And then there's also a section in the application form where we see your net worth statements. So everything you have in your name, everything you owe, and when you subtract that, that presents your net worth of what you're worth. We also list of operating costs that you need help with. In the application form, you're going to see a whole bunch of business operating costs. That's there to be as a guide for you, but like I said, every business is different. So you just tell us what your operating costs are. Any more questions out there? So we had really good questions about net worth. Okay, net worth of business or personal. It would be both. So if you're a sole proprietor, we're going to want your net worth statement as an individual. If you're incorporated, we will ask you for your financial statements. It depends. Sometimes you're incorporated and you're just one director, but sometimes you're incorporated and you're an economic development corporation of a First Nation, and we treat those case by case. Does that answer your question? When we're done this webinar, you'll know who I am. My name is Kim. You'll have my contact information, my email, my phone number. I would love to hear from you. You can email me or call me, and I can answer more of your questions on a one-on-one basis if you'd like. So when it's time to incorporate it as a sole director, so if you're incorporated as a sole director, yes, we will want your personal net worth statement of everything you own personally, as well as what the business owns. Good question. So here's the loan process for the emergency loans. Initially, we want you to call us. Here's our 1-800 number. We also have a dedicated COVID email. You could also go right to our website. Somebody is asking if we have an email handout of this presentation afterwards. For sure. So on our website by this Friday, you'll have a copy of this PowerPoint that we're going through, and you'll also have a copy of the recording of this webinar you're attending. The second part is the application. So when you call us, we're going to talk to you about what it is your business needs are. You'll probably be speaking to our business support officer. His name is Robert. So Robert will guide you through the process, and any of our other account managers or myself, we'll take your calls and guide you through, and we'll explain to you what we have available, whether it's the $25,000 loan, the $40,000, or the $50,000, or a combination of all three of them. Within 2 days, when you call us, within 2 days, somebody will be getting back to you and providing you the application form. And then part 3 is when you're ready to actually submit the application form with your 12-month Excel sheet and any supplementary pieces you're going to give us. So there's the Excel sheet that looks at how your business is operating with revenues and expenses for a 12-month period. Any supporting documents you have, like your lease payments, any agreements, any financial statements. If you are going to be planning on buying new things or constructing new things under the Business Recovery Fund, we're going to ask you to send us a copy of the quotes. So it's important that you get your quotes lined up and in place before you actually start buying what you're looking for. Or you may have already bought stuff, and as long as you have quotes to show us like what these things cost, like we'll consider these. And then part 4 of our loan process is when we do an assessment of what you've submitted to us. And it's a pretty simple review. We're not taking any of these applications to boards for reviews or assessments. We're doing them internally, and we're fairly quick. So what we're looking at in part of your application is your credit rating, how long your business has been around. We'll take a good look at your financial statements. You're going to want to see the market you're operating in and the description of the costs you're asking for. We are aiming for a 10-day business turnaround on completed submissions. So if your application is completed, we're going to do our best to give you an answer within two weeks or 10 business days. But if you're missing your Excel sheet and you haven't given us quotes or you haven't given us any of your supporting documents, then it's just your application is going to fall behind, and others that are more complete will go on top. The emergency funds we have at NADF, you can probably access them until March 31st, 2021. But as soon as the funds run out that we have to offer, then that's it. And part 5 is when the loan is actually issued. So this means you went through our assessment and we found your request reasonable, and we proceed. So when we proceed with you, you actually get a loan package by email. And the loan package consists of a letter of offer outlining some of our terms and conditions of our loan, which usually includes you signing a general security agreement, a promissory note, and a pre-authorized payment plan for that 13th month when you're starting to make your payments. When we're ready to give you your loan, what we will do is we're going to do an electronic fund transfer to your business bank account. I just want to go back and just touch briefly on the general security agreement and promissory note. When you get the loan package from us, you need time to go over each piece. But in general, a general security agreement means everything that you have now and own in the future belongs to NADF as loan security until you pay back our loan. That's what a general security agreement is. A promissory note is a piece of paper that says, yes, I promise to pay back NADF the emergency loan that I borrowed. So these two things, we register them in what's called the PPSA, Personal Property Security Act. So this protects NADF. So if you're borrowing from us, we want to make sure we get our money back. So these are two pieces that we use to make sure that we secure our loan. So it's a general security agreement and a promissory note. So that's what you're going to find in your loan package. So once we issue you the electronic fund transfer, then the process is you have to start paying us back as you agreed to in that 13th month. And every month we're going to monitor you to make loan payments back to NADF. NADF does report to Equifax, so we do credit ratings with all our loan clients, so we update them regularly. So when you get a loan from NADF, you still have to pay it back. Somebody's asking, is there a deadline dates for these loans grants? No. What we have with the government programs that we're delivering, we have until March 31st, 2021 to still give them out. But if the money runs out before that, then that's it. It's kind of like first come, first serve. So when you're applying to us, make sure your application is completed. But I can tell you now, like we have quite a bit of money to issue. So don't take your time, but start getting your applications worked on. Okay. So here is an example of what we're going to send you in your application. So basically, we're going back from March 2020 when COVID hit. So you see in the columns March, April, May, June, July, August. So that time has come and gone. Those are actual things that you as business owners have already incurred. So we want to know back from March, what happened? Like, what were your sales like in March? What were they like in April? What were they like in May, June, July, August? Like, these are your historical things. Like, how did your business operate? And then below each month, these are going to be different for every business. So you're going to put down your business's operating costs every month. And this tells us and you like how much your business needs to just to cover its basic operating costs in a month. Somebody's asking a question. The loan for corporations, what will be the requirement of the directors of the corporation with regard to liability? Oh, good legal question. Okay, so depending, if it's an economic development corporation owned by a First Nation, and there's sufficient security, then we give the loan to the Economic Development Corporation. Sometimes if the Economic Development Corporation is owned by the First Nation, sometimes we ask for the First Nation to guarantee the loan. Sometimes, say if it's one director for a corporation, sometimes we will ask the director to personally guarantee the loan. So those are options we have. Somebody's asking another question. If another institution has GSA agreement in place that covers existing loans on buildings and equipment, how is that handled? Okay. In lending, when we're looking at somebody's application and we're wondering what kind of security we can take or could take, we'll look through the PPSA system and see what liens our applicant currently has in place. So sometimes we're second, sometimes we're third. It all depends like who's already registered ahead of us. So we have ways of dealing with that. You guys are asking really good questions. Thank you. Keep them coming. Okay, going back to this Excel sheet, you'll see like the month of September to March 2021, they're in purple. So this just means like, give us your best estimate. Try to predict the future. Try to tell us what you think your sales are going to be in those months and what your operating costs are going to be in those months. Because what we look at is your operating costs on the bottom. And then if you give us like your last 2-year financial statements, we can kind of see, well, do they match? Are they comparable? And that gives us a good sense of like, these are your operating costs and you're probably a good candidate to get an emergency financing package. If you have this Excel sheet in front of you and you're not sure how to do it, we have staff who you can call or you can call me and we'll get them to help you fill it out. You're not alone when you're filling out this application. We have support staff that are knowledgeable, friendly, and helpful. So all you have to do is just reach out to us. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. Like I said, you know where to find me, what I look like, what I sound like. There's my email. I'm located in Timmins. Our head office is in Fort William First Nation. We look forward to hearing from you. If you have any more questions, please send them on over. I'll just sit here for a little bit and see if anybody has any more questions or final comments. Are we all good? Okay. So I thank you for your time. It's always good to hear about what financing options you can access. Thank you. Thank you for joining. All right. Take care, everybody. I'm going to end the webinar now. I need to clarify, somebody asked a question. If another institution has a GSA in place, okay. Okay, if I understand the question being asked, if there's another general security in place already, then what happens to NADF is we become second position and our security is weak, but we still do loans like that, case by case. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody.